It's getting late. I wanted to talk about a subject that I think will upset a lot of people. But I'll just let this guy go. But I think it's an important thing to discuss. There's a Jewish candidate, I believe, for Congress, who invited, and this is a Jewish woman. I think she attends a conservative temple. She's a member of either a former conservative Republican, and she invited someone who calls himself a Messianic Rabbi to an event, and it happened to be that Mike Pence was there, the Vice President, our very honored Vice President, who I have very high esteem for. And a lot of people now are blaming Vice President Pence. He had no idea who was being invited. Where, in fact, it was a Jewish woman who invited this man to say a prayer. And people are freaking out on social media and so forth. Now, we can question the wisdom of what she did, but I think, personally, we cannot demonize other human beings. And I don't think it's a stunt or this or that. Maybe she was trying to get in good with Vice President Pence because he's an evangelical Christian. But he understands. He actually has Jewish family who are frum, who are Orthodox. So he would have understood if we didn't bring a Christian speaker. But yes, there's a lot of problems with Christians calling themselves Messianic Jews. There are many different types of people who call themselves Messianic Jews. I think some of them actually understand, are embracing a form of Judaism, not too different, than the Chabad, who believes that their rabbi is the Messiah. The only major difference, as Chabad would say, is that there's a difference in who they're claiming the Messiah is. But if they're claiming this out of ignorance, they're both wrong. And they're both equally wrong. But if they're claiming this out of ignorance and they are keeping Torah, they are both equally wrong, but both equally within the realm of Klal Yisrael. So to the conservative, a lot of them, they believe in the primacy of Halacha and Chazal and these type of issues. But I made a statement that really, and then a lot of these who call themselves Messianic Jews, especially like Jews for Jesus, are basically just regular evangelical Christians who do not believe that they have to keep halacha. And so those are Christians. But a lot of them still call themselves rabbis. Even if they keep certain aspects of halacha, doesn't mean that they believe that they have to. That they're bound in some way, even if it's not a matter of what they would call salvation. But still, they see that they're bound to this covenant. Well, they say it's a broken covenant. There are different things that they claim. This particular fellow, I read his website, he said it's a broken covenant because we don't have the sacrifices. So what about Daniel? What about, So, how did Daniel, be justified before God as Ish Chamudos, someone who's beloved by God? Anyway, it's neither here nor there. I made a statement, and I stick by it, that there's no difference in accepting whether it's the Messianic or the Reform and the Conservative. They're all, they have just as much of a right to call themselves rabbi, the Messianic as the Reform and Conservative. They're both frauds. However, so the Reform and Conservative are very offended by this. Not conservative. The conservative are more real rabbinical Jews, but the Reform and the Reconstructionists and the Humanists, for sure, they also call themselves rabbis. We certainly have more in common with the Messianics than we have with the Humanists. But all that being said, we can recognize that there are different views in the world, and not everybody's the same. Kind of like what I said the other day about how the Catholic Church does not recognize Mormons as Christians. However, they'll still be friendly to Mormons. They don't hate Mormons just because they don't think that they're Christians. They don't hate Jews, and they don't think we're Christians. They don't hate Muslims. They don't think that they're Christians. Yeah, and they have a point. If Mormons are Christians, why aren't Muslims Christians? Obviously, Muslims are not Christians, but Muslims have Jesus as a prophet and even as Messiah, according to some interpretations of Islam, and we don't. We Jews, we don't. But that doesn't mean that we have to hate the people who do. I don't hate Reform, Conservative, or Reconstructionist or Humanist Jews, rabbis. I might still say there might be a question counting them for minion, things like that. Yes, I don't hate them because I don't count my friends who are Christian or Muslim in a minion either. And I don't hate them either. I love them. And so too, we have to have respect for human beings, even those who are Messianic Jews. And the fact of the matter is, if they believe that there's something good they want to share, even if we think they're wrong, well, that's a beautiful thing. They love us enough to want to share something that makes them happy. Why don't we do the same thing? That would be the answer. Instead of cursing the darkness, light a candle. Why don't we spread Torah? And there's a lot of racism in the Jewish world that has to be dealt with. Someone asked me today, they said they made a bet, is Judaism a religion or a race? And they claimed it's religion. So of course they're a religion, not a race. You can't convert to a race. I can't say I'm black or Chinese. And there's only one race, it's the human race. But whatever you want to say. But anyone can convert to Judaism from any race. And so too, an atheist loses part of their Jewish identity. They have to do tshuva, and their kedushin is still kosher kedushin. That's the one aspect that they do remain Jewish, but they don't count for minyan. Their yain is yain nesech. All right, but just because they don't count for minyan and their yain is yain nesech doesn't mean we have to hate them. We can still live in society together with people that we disagree with and respect them as fellow human beings who are made in the image of God, even when we disagree drastically with their theology and their religious views and so forth. And that's the message that I want to bring out here. And it's the right thing to do. If we are embracing the Reform and Conservative, which many people do, some people don't. But it's hypocritical not to embrace the Messianics. For sure, if you embrace the Humanists, not the Messianic. Where do you draw the line? Where do you make the decision? Why do you say this one is kosher and this one's treif when they're both treif? And it's fine, we can still love them. Doesn't mean we're fulfilling a mitzvah. We have to l'recha kamocha. We have no chiyuv to love them the way that we have a chiyuv. We have an obligation to love someone who is kamocha b'torah mitzvahs, who's shemer Torah mitzvahs. Our chiyuv with these people is to draw them back. But the fact of the matter is, we have just as much of a chiyuv to bring the whole world tachas ol malchus shamayim. But we shouldn't be so sure that we have it right either. That's the message that Malachi had, that Malachi had for the Kahanim, for the priests in the base of Mikdash, in the temple. Everywhere they're offering pure offerings to God. It's all to the one God. That's all there really is. That's all there is. There's nothing else. And so if people are on mistaken paths, we don't know that we know what we have revealed, but do we really understand it? No human being can grasp what God is. God is infinite. No angel can grasp the fullness of what God is. All we know is what we're taught. We can we can repeat the words that we heard and try to feel something and understand something the best we can, and God gives us that strength, and that's it. But more we can't expect, because it's impossible. And so therefore, to feel arrogant and hatred over other people, there's no place for that, because a lot of these people don't know any better. A lot of these people mean well. Not everyone is out to convert us, even. Some of these people really want to be frum, and the frum people won't take them in. I met someone, he called himself a Messianic Rabbi, and he said he wanted to go to Esha Torah, and they said, no, your mother's not Jewish, we won't take you. And so he became Messianic. When he first left the church, he was ready to give up Jesus. And then so who's really to blame here? It's funny because he said to me something like, they said my email is not Jewish. I thought he said email. I remember this in Idaho Falls, the rabbi of Idaho Falls, and he said, when he had a Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur service, he said all of his he himself's not really Jewish, and none of his congregants really Jewish, but they want Yiddishkeit, they want Torah more than they and he said a real Yid came in, maybe from the Erev Rav, whatever it is, but she said, this is too frum for me, this is too orthodox. She was looking for something reform, conservative, That's the world we live in. It's true, I remember on cable TV in my Bubba's house in the 90s watching the Messianic Jews and the Reform Jews, and I was like, it was a Reform service for Shavuos, so it looked like a Catholic church, and the Messianic, they kind of look Jewish, and they're both wrong. They're both the same. We got to stop thinking that we got to look at people as people, human beings. It doesn't matter what you are. If you're Buddhist, you're Hindu, you're atheist, right? We all fall short. We all have our problems. Again, doesn't mean we can account you for a minion. Doesn't mean that we have you as part of our little club here. We can still have our little clubs, and they don't accept us into their clubs, and that's also fine. Should we expect to receive communion if we're not Catholic, or to be able to lead a prayer in a mosque if we're not Muslim? We could expect maybe to visit and see what they do. We're curious. Not that that's necessarily something you should do, but we can't demand if we're not from that, It's just how it is. But especially in a secular setting, the Messianic Jews are voters, they're Americans, they're just, in a secular setting, they're just as good as us. We can maybe ask them to be honest in what they're teaching. This guy was honest. He was talking about Jesus. That's it. They knew he wasn't trying to hide anything. So get off your high horse, because all these people who are so upset about this just showed what bigots they are. And there's no room for that. All right, thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. That doesn't mean that I approve of it. What I mean is, in a political rally, they had regular galachim also. say a prayer. A regular pastor, someone who, Christian pastors or priests or, or Muslim imams are also saying something. How is this guy different than them? Why should he not be invited? Why should he be excluded if he wants to express his condolences? It's a chutzpah. It's the same mechutzafim who said that the president shouldn't come. Chutzpah. Idiots. It's a chil Hashem. And they wonder why there's problems in the world. I'm not blaming the victims. But we got to check ourselves too. Me, myself included. I have problems too. I have a lot of problems. All right, God bless. Thank you for watching. Okay.